Hello and welcome to the Simply Free Little Talk. I'm your host, Free Little, and I am really glad that we have a special edition of Galveston Featured. And we have today in the studio, we have Mr. Keith Henry. He's a commissioner and he's running for state representative. That's the House District 23. And he has his beautiful wife, Miss Dionne Henry, with him today. And so we're going to take time to give them an opportunity so you'll just get to know them on a more personal level and kind of see what drives him, what has motivated him to take it to another level. So without further ado, let me bring my guest in. Hello, Commissioner and beautiful Dionne Henry. This is his wife.
Hey, how are you, Miss Free?
I am wonderful. I'm really glad to be here with you two. Seriously.
Yeah. Likewise, we are too.
I'm proud of you. Can I say that?
Thank you so much. You can.
I am. You've done amazing in the Texas City, Texas area, in Lamarck area, just that whole region, and of even Galveston. Let's just say that people know you in various cities in the Galveston County area. And I can tell you, you have a great reputation in regards to handling your business. So I wanted to start with that. And then I wanted to tell Miss Dionne, I'm very impressed with you as an educator in this community as well.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. You two are giddy. I love it. That just shows the family values. Y'all are getting ahead. I'm ready to let everyone know of the amazing family values that you guys have, and we're going to talk about your marriage. We're going to talk about the beautiful three children that you guys have. And so, Mrs. Henry, I'm going to start with you first. Ladies first. So this is a little different from you in your normal element. You're usually a reserved, laid back individual. So how has this really affected your normal life?
Yes, ma'am. It's been very difficult because I'm a private person. Mm-hmm. So I'm the little worker bee in the back. I'm doing all the work. You can see me, but you can't hear me. So it's been challenging for me and my personality.
Yes.
To now be in the public eye where everyone is talking about you and want to know about you. And like I'm just naturally very shy.
She's very powerful. I think just my wife is a very humble person, and so she'll say she's just a little worker bee. But if it wasn't for her, then I certainly wouldn't be in a position.
Oh yes, I love hearing that.
Being able to even have the accomplishments that I had. She's truly is my rock, and makes me a better man each day. Yeah. So that's not hyperbole. That's so I have much better than I was granted and gifted much better than I deserve.
Oh, then I love hearing that. And I love that you're giving her public accolades and praises right now today on the Simply Free Little Talk. And what I want to go next to is Miss Dionne's personality is so adorable that her little kiddos that she works with every day. And where is that district that you work with little kids?
Yes, ma'am. I work in Pasadena ISD. Okay. So I've been there for 10 years.
Wow. And what is the age group that you work with?
Well, I'm a special education teacher, so I get to work with them as soon as they turn 3. They can come to school.
Wow, and that's beautiful. Yeah, you hear that beautiful voice.
And then they can actually stay in school until they're 22.
Wow. Yes, so you've had over 20 years with special education, and that brings you have to be a special person for that. You have to have love for kids. You really do. So thank you.
I really love it.
And I'm glad that you do, because I have a 12-year-old grandson that's been diagnosed with not Alzheimer's, with autism. And so I know that it takes a special person to work with those youth. So thank you.
Okay. She's really good at what she does.
That's obvious. That's obvious. So, Commissioner, let's get to you. I want you to lead us out in sharing the family core values that you and your wife bring forth with your 3 children.
we are very old school and it's very traditional.
Oh wow.
Our our three kids. It's interesting because our kids. Our oldest is 12. The
Mhm.
twins just turned 11, and
Mm.
we they all have their own identities. Our twin girl,
Okay.
she's Dionne's clone.
I love it.
This shy, kind of reclusive,
Yeah,
Yes.
um,
kind of eccentric,
eccentric,
Oh
just
wow.
nerdy, but
quiet, nerdy.
just a sweetheart.
Mhm.
Twin boy Davion, he's the quintessential boy. He's
He fits the
just
bill.
he's just there, just won't be still. He's gonna turn backflips every time he gets a chance.
Wow.
Wants to play video games, wants to play sports. Our oldest daughter, she's our rebel. So
Mm.
she's
Okay.
preteen. She keeps us on our toes. She's probably her and I were attached at the hip because she's
I love it. I love
daddy's
it.
girl and she's not afraid to speak her opinion.
See, that's my kind of girl. That's my kind of
Yeah,
girl.
she is not afraid to speak her mind. She is tough, and it gets her in trouble. It also gets me in trouble too because I speak.
Because
'Cause
you're
I speak
often there in the hot seat with her, right?
yeah, so it is. And oftentimes, if individuals see me out on the campaign trail, they'll often see me with my oldest daughter, with our oldest daughter, is because
Yes.
she's the one that's attached to the hip. But again, core value, we just want our kids to have opportunity. Well, opportunities that I didn't have growing up, and we want them to be their own individuals. And so, again, the old school pieces, we tell them definitely respect your elders.
Yes.
When you go outside, understand that you represent more than just you. You represent the family name, not just
Oh, come on.
Henry, but you represent my mother and my father-in-law, their family
Mhm.
name, and
Yes.
so that's critically important to us. Are they typical kids in terms of getting in trouble, and we have to remind ourselves that, well, yeah, I
Mhm.
was like that as a kid, especially me. I was a troublemaker. I didn't get in any
I
trouble.
love the realistic approach. Yes. Y'all are refreshing to me because many times we, as parents, we want to say our kids are the best and they don't do anything wrong. And, they're just walking, around, like all is well in their lives. And when reality, our children are children. That's what they
Right.
are. They're children. They learn, they make mistakes. Come on, you perfect people out there. Yeah, our children are. So thank you for bringing that realistic revelation to us that they're children. They're children. They need time to grow like as we did. Thank you, Commissioner, for letting us know that you were a little handful growing up.
I'm probably Dionne probably was still in here.
But that also makes you relatable because all of us at one point or another were not perfect.
Right, correct.
I know I look perfect, but no, I wasn't. And I had a mother that was a sheriff, so I couldn't get in trouble.
Right.
But let's go back to your mother. And I love that you often comment about she was a single mother. She worked. You commend your mother, but at the same time, you recognize that foundation you had. So,
Right.
kind of elaborate on so our guests could know why you have the old school flavor still in effect.
Yeah. Well, I just think generational, but also our parents were old. I was raised by a single mom,
Mhm.
and my mom was. My brother and I. My mom was in her 50s when we graduated high school. So,
Mm.
and then I was also the male influence in my life was my grandfather, who's how old is he now, sweetheart?
It's like 91.
He's 91 years old.
Oh yeah, you old school for real.
And so I learned quick.
Yes.
Yeah,
Like that.
yeah, I learned quick, and I always tell
Whoa.
this story. I was smelling myself one day, and
Mm.
my mother, when I was a teenage boy, my mother gave me a quick 2-piece, and I realized,
Ooh.
so,
Whoa.
okay, yeah. Then so we just those the old
Mm.
school values, and then Dionne never got in trouble when she was a child.
She probably was like me, too afraid, because you know what, you had to face the music when you got home, and
Yeah, yeah. So again, but just those old school values that were
yeah,
instilled in us. We are. I mean, we're in this in terms of parenting. Again, we still have old school values. We there is a balance with us though.
yeah.
We allow the kids to be their be their own individual, and that's repetitive. You know, as long as they're respectful. Oftentimes when they go out. But we'll get or they go at their friend's house. Your children were so respectful. And we're surprised.
I
You
get
sure you
it.
got
I
the same child? You know,
I get
well,
it.
I think that's common with a lot of parents. I don't know if you got the child. We know, but okay.
Is that the same one that just left my house?
Yeah, yeah. So those are values, and we really put an emphasis on it. You know, we recognize, all right, we want to raise productive kids,
Yes.
who are going to be productive adults when they go into society, and you know, try to prepare them for a world that isn't always going to be um, embracing of them. We also try to teach
Absolutely.
them some humility and being humble. You do have we let them know that you know you're fortunate in this world. You do have parents that have influence,
Mhm.
but that does not mean that you have a sense of entitlement, and that
Oh,
doesn't
come
mean
on.
you
That's
treat
good.
anybody differently because of whatever position they may have in their life. Because you know you never know, and not everybody. One of the tough pieces, you know, there's a lot of people that may love your parents. There's a lot of people may haters. So, you know, you got to prepare for that. And they may not have any logical reason. You
Yes,
know,
that exactly. I totally understood. I can understand that personally. When your parents are in the public eye, you never know what the real, reception, or what people thoughts really are. How they're received by the society. But I want to get to your political position, your views. Can you share with us what are your political views?
yeah, so the reason why I got into public service, I don't know if I chose it or it chose me.
Okay.
I was just always told as a kid, or well in my formative years, you know, you're a politician, and I was like, and I
Yeah.
denied it for years until I
Wow.
actually said, all right, well, one day I'm going to run for public office, and I
Mm.
was fortunate enough that my constituents in West Texas City, District 1, they chose me for the term I served, and,
Awesome.
I'm really happy. And so
Yes.
one thing that I realized while on the dais was my skill set is more conducive to a legislative seat, state
Yes.
representative. Um, I, you know, I'm a good writer. I'm someone who actually builds builds really good rapport across the aisle. I always tell
Mhm.
people I have really a lot of Republican friends,
Okay.
even though I'm a Democrat.
Yeah.
There's some Democrats who probably don't like me because I'm getting outspoken piece. Nonetheless, the one thing nobody can deny is I'm effective. That is,
Yes.
I'm
That's the key.
yeah, I'm
That's the
incredibly
key.
effective
And fair.
and
I
fair.
think that's a
And
strength.
fair. Yes, Dion. Thank you for saying that. And fair. And willing to listen to the people. Let me add that. Willing to
Yeah,
listen.
yes.
That means a lot to me. Yes.
Yeah, I do. There's you know, if it's right, it's right. If it's wrong, it's wrong. And typically, when it's wrong, that's when I like.
That's what we
Leave
hear
out.
from that stern side of you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they hear from that side,
Mhm.
and so I just always go back to my childhood. I didn't see African American politicians. I didn't see African
Mm.
American attorneys. I didn't know any African American doctors. I didn't know,
Yes.
you know, I didn't know that there was a world that really existed outside of my underserved world. And
Yes, say that.
once I realized that in order to really be effective, you need to be, as cliche as this sounds, you need to be at the table. You
Yes,
need to be the
absolutely.
one that's actually that has not only a voice but has a vote.
Voice
Right.
and a
That
vote. Yes,
that
thank you.
that matters. And so from the we get people for what the state legislator does. Your local politics is ironic because I was actually being councilman, doctor, chairman. He has so many titles.
County document.
Pastor King, him and I,
Yes,
we had a really good conversation this morning, and we were
excellent.
discussing, how we could, how to coordinate with campaigns, and also
Mhm.
that how we don't necessarily just represent one party, we represent people. And
Yes.
at him at let's say for him at the county level, a lot of what he does is he will put in a lot of the funding for community initiatives, community development. He'll look at roads and bridges and improving that infrastructure. At the state level, where it's important is we provide appropriations for teachers. Teachers haven't. My wife's a teacher.
Yes.
Teachers haven't received a raise, a cost of living raise in over 20
Mm.
years. That's
Oh,
unacceptable. Right?
unacceptable.
That is unacceptable. And we're running an expensive campaign, so
Mhm.
we need to get my wife a raise.
I love it.
So we need to get my wife and her colleagues a raise. So
Yes, yes,
that's
they do.
important.
They
Also,
deserve a raise. I agree.
yeah, and
Yes.
unique to that is I have a reading literacy initiative and in the Colors of Excellence book drive
Yes,
this
you
Saturday.
do.
What the
Yes.
data suggests, if kids aren't at reading level by the third grade, then
Mhm.
they have a high probability of dropping out of high school. It's unacceptable.
Mhm.
And so we need to, again, that's why we need to place more funding into education. We look at other things. Let's take, the pro-choice, pro-life issue, right?
Mhm.
I when I did my research, I realized that abortion isn't about killing babies. It's really about really protecting women because
Yes.
when
Your
you don't
choice.
there could be there's some
Mhm.
medical issues that may
Absolutely.
come up that could put the mother in peril, the mother and child in peril. And so we really need to look at it from a science perspective. Now there's Senate Bill 8, which effectively is a trigger law for the recent Supreme Court
Mhm. Mhm.
ruling. Well, if you have individuals like me at the table, then
Come on.
I can be fair and balanced, as
Mhm.
opposed to individuals uh,
Yeah.
who may not necessarily critically think or really listen to the vast majority of voices in the state. And on this issue, over 70%. I think it's right at 78% of Texans, regardless of political affiliation, think that we should be our champions for pro-choice. So
Yeah.
that where the state representative comes in. There's other funding. You're talking about economic pieces here on the coast. We need the IDIC, which Congress
Mhm.
recently approved, and we need funding for
Mhm.
that.
We
If
need the
anybody
funding.
owns a home, if they receive their tax tax
Oh
bill,
boy.
they
I'm
probably
one.
passed out. Right. And so one of the mechanisms that the state can employ, which I actually like, is eradicating the
Mhm.
mass appraisal technique. And effectively, what that mass appraisal technique is, somebody may come to my home and say their home is worth X amount of dollars, and everybody in the neighborhood is worth that
Mm.
same amount. And what that actually drives inflation, as opposed to
Yes.
actually going home to home,
Home to home. Yes. Speak
really
on it.
a real evaluation of
Mhm.
property. Those are the things that's important for that a state rep does. A state rep is really um, the local officials, obviously, and your
Mhm.
state rep is really your first your first line of protection, a voice for you. And then you obviously you go to the congressional level and to the president, but you don't have your state reps in place or your state senators, any of your state legislators, then and if they're not advocating for you, then
Mm.
it could be, we can really get into um, we can get some challenging times
Mhm.
uh, if you don't have the right voices at the table. Other and just keep on not just the right voices, the right votes at the table,
That's
the right
correct.
people to be champion for you. Champion.
But the people would not know how to vote effectively without a effective voice speaking into our ear gates. We need that. So that's why I do appreciate you. I do appreciate Pastor King and what you both are standing for. We need to hear what individuals' moral values are that's running for office and what you're willing to bring to the table and what you already have in your toolbox. You have an arsenal of experience and knowledge that we need. That's the difference that I see with you as a candidate as well as with Pastor King. We have people now that we can touch
Yes.
and who's willing to talk to the community. So look, Dionne's agreeing. So
Yeah.
I just have the thumbs up from the educator guys. So yes, I love it. I love it. So I want you to speak a little bit more about who can we expect to see on Saturday at your third annual, it's the book club. The
Yeah.
what is it?
It's a book drive, and
It's a
I
book
do it to
drive. I don't know
promote
why I want to call it
literacy.
club.
Yeah. So, and I do it to promote literacy throughout Galveston
Yes.
County. We have what we do is we will choose an organization to help
Mhm.
sponsor, and those books will be delivered to local local organizations throughout the county. I think the last 2 years I began a free library in my district at Carver Park, and so now we have
Mm.
probably over 1,000 books that have been
That
donated
is
to
so
the
good. That
last
is so
two
good.
years. And so I know
And
I'm sorry.
no, I was going to ask you the age. The age, just
The
include age,
age groups,
age
the
for the book.
books,
Yes.
the books typically range from children's book 3 years old to really all the way to adults.
Adults.
Perfect.
Preferably, we like children's books because there's a
Yes.
reading literacy initiative, but there's also an adult literacy issue that we have to address here too. And so
Absolutely, we do.
the reason why I began the book drive is because even the city of Texas City, great city,
Hmm.
what we realized that the nearest library was maybe a few miles away, but in terms of adequate public transportation, having access to books, it may be hard for kids to drive 4 or 5 miles to a library. So they may not have that transportation, uh, the private transportation that they need to get to the library. If we put a library shelf in their backyard, then they're
That's right.
more likely to read. And great thanks really to the city of Texas City. To
Mm.
we call him Library Luke.
Library.
Library Luke,
Okay.
the director of
Yes.
Moore Library, he was really
Okay.
instrumental. So now what he does
Awesome.
with the books, and he's also placed them at Sanders Center as well here in
Okay.
Texas City. So what he does with the books, he actually places not just the donated books, but um, they will order books and they will place those
Mm.
books in the bookshelves at both Carver and Sanders Centers, which those really underserved.
Excellent achievement.
It's
That's
really
excellent.
amazing. And so we also the other component to that is
Mm.
the first year we had if individuals don't want to donate books but they want to donate money, we will choose
Mhm.
a local nonprofit. The first year I believe was Lamarck Alumni
Mm.
Association. The
Uh-huh.
second year I can't remember who we donated those books to. I mean donated the campaign, the not the
Mm.
campaign. This is
Donations.
different. Donated the
Donations.
donations to. This year we're
Mhm.
actually going to the Franklin Institute Barber College. We're going to look at workforce
Okay,
development
good.
initiatives, and so if anybody wants to contribute to them, that money will go to pay for scholarships for prospective
Awesome.
students. So it's really it's twofold.
That's
The
good work.
yeah, the other component we've added is now again we're going to have all local authors. So throughout the greater Houston
Okay.
area, primarily Galveston County authors. So
Yeah.
we have a lot of authors here in our county who they can
Yes.
they can benefit from definitely the exposure, and
Definitely.
it shows that, hey, you can write a book too. Right?
Yes.
Not only do we want you to really read, we want you to be able to write as well. And here's another tool in your toolbox, and they're from
Mhm.
all walks of life. One, we have a prominent author. His name
Definitely.
is Dan Garrett. He writes children books.
Okay.
He's also a teacher. We have a Houston police officer. He wrote a memoir.
I
Just
love it.
across the board. So it's really exciting.
It sounds great. And it's an opportunity for the youth to see that they too can do this. I love the I can too do this when we have opportunities which you providing. And this was the third annual year. So I'm very proud of your accomplishment. And this was long before, guys, that he even knew or recognized he was going forward for state representative.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, see, it's just who he is. I love that, Miss Dionne. It is. So let's go forward. And you also have another you have another event, which is a fundraiser, and that is let's go back. The date is Saturday, July the 2nd, correct? Let's
Correct.
talk about the location of the book drive.
There's the location. There's two locations. The book drive, Colors of Excellence Books Drive, will be at the Franklin Institute Barber College in Texas City. I'll text that physical address. And then
Okay.
then we have a conversation with the authors. It's called Bros, Books, and Kicks.
Okay.
Wear your kicks, wear your best tennis shoes or your best kicks, and please come out and visit us.
Come
Listen
out
to
Saturday. Yeah.
listen to the authors at Rosenberg Library from 2
Mm,
to 3:30 p.m. We love to see you.
I
Please.
love it. And that's in
That's
Galveston.
And that's in Galveston at the
Mhm.
Rosenberg Library.
I love it. So you have two locations that people can actually donate books. Correct. I love it. So you heard the locations. Just put those in the comments later after the show, or if Miss Dionne could do that, I just want to have that information available to those that are listening and those that will listen to the play. So July the 10th. Talk about it. What's going on?
So you want to babe? Oh, I got it. So July 10th, we are hosting a joint fundraiser with my high school class. I graduated
Yes.
2003 from the
Oh, goodness.
my wife's a Lamar grad.
I know. That's why we're gonna tease her real hard right now.
We're going to forgive her for it. The Galveston Ball High School. And it is to benefit. And it's to benefit my campaign. We'll split the proceeds 50-50. And it's to benefit our 20th class year, 20th reunion next year. So folks won't be coming out of their pocket paying for our 20-year reunion. We can come together collectively as a class, and they support their classmate in making this historic run for state representative. By the way, when elected, I will be the first African-American man to be elected state representative. Currently, I'm the first African-American nominee for this seat. So there's some historical context there.
Yes, and I knew that, but it is still so impressive, and it's so good to hear that. But more importantly, I'm glad that the class of 2003, even though y'all not the best class of all, however, he had to take a deep breath on that. He's like, I liked you, Miss Free, until you stay at that. But the class of 1986, see, we are the 100th graduating class of Bow High. Let's just be more professional. Joy. But
all right,
we're the 100 graduating class, so that's why we just have excellence.
Agreed.
He'll agree now, but behind closed, he's like, you know what? Our class is the best. I think Dionne said, forget both of y'all. Y'all don't know what y'all talking about.
I'm not going to hold it against her.
It's okay she didn't get the opportunity to grace Bow High, but we do want to give pay some respects to your high school. So what was your high school?
So I graduated from Lamar High School. So I'm a
Okay,
cougar.
y'all
Go
okay, y'all. I'm just gonna laugh. That's all I'm gonna laugh.
I married a very beautiful woman.
They just happened to graduate from Lamarck High School. It's okay.
Correct.
It's okay.
Correct.
But you know about how we were always winning every year.
We
They'll say, I'm not even trying to go there with you guys. Well, it's fun. I want you guys to really know, all the listening audience, on a serious note, Commissioner's wife, they are just as human as we are.
Yes.
They face the same challenges we do, and that's why I wanted them to come on, so that they are able to let you know that they laugh, they have fun, but it is a serious matter. He stated he's the first candidate for the state representative. So this right there should be a lot of support. And I'm so glad to know that your class is wise enough to support you. So I'll give that to your class. She just came. She did so well, and she just came right back and had to throw us. But it's okay. But I really am proud of your class. And so that's July the 10th. And where is that located in Galveston?
That'll be at Old Central Cultural Center, right across the street from the stadium.
Yes.
It is. We're charging $40 a ticket. It's $300 a table. So that fits 8. So that's about $30.
Yes.
$30 for 8 people. Get that together. Or you just give a $20 donation, and we'll love to. We're not going to turn down anybody. We'll love to have you see faces. Just because it's class of 2003, we want to see as many people as possible. We're going to have fun. I've invited several other local candidates. They may say a few words
Awesome.
Because it's not all about me. It's really about the goal that we need to accomplish, and how we need to stand for community right now.
I love that. That is so that's really great that you're standing by the community. So without further ado, I want you to take the next 10 minutes or so and just pitch to the community what you plan to do. What is the whole vision of the state representative House District 23, and what you're going to do for Galveston? What does that mean for Galveston County? And
10 minutes may be really long.
Come on, get next.
Well, just I can always start with how I began. My goal in life is to always pay it forward. I'm very fortunate to have the opportunities that I've been afforded. Again, I was a kid that grew up single parent home, twin brother. My mother worked 3 or 4 jobs just to support us, and she did it faithfully and earnestly. She never allowed us to make excuses for our circumstances, and she said her words would be, "My babies will be successful."
Wow, I love it. She spoke it into existence.
Yeah, she spoke. She told. Well, she spoke it, and she was firm about it.
I love that.
And put it that way. Yeah. And so now that again afforded the opportunities to get college degrees, and to really be able to travel all throughout the country and meet people from all over the world, I really saw that there was a need for individuals to be impactful in government, and to have seats that are impactful. And so going into the state rep seat, what I can do and what I've done as commissioner is I've been really someone that sits down. We call my website is Keith Henry Action Today. And the reason for that is I take action. I'm not someone that's going to be politically expedient. I'm someone that's going to do the right thing. And again, that hasn't always been welcomed by several colleagues, but that's okay. I can just go back. He's using an example. Commission, when we had the freeze, I literally walked out in the freezing weather, and I went to as many constituents' doors as possible to make sure they were okay and they had what they needed. That's what I'll bring the state representative. The
Come
state
on.
representative, what I can do is, again, I can actually write policy that really has an effect or a great impact, that is universal, that is inclusive for individuals. That is, again, we can speak of education.
Yes.
We have to pay teachers more.
Come
We
on.
have to.
Totally
Uh,
agree. I totally
we
agree.
can we can ensure that we're not in fear of our homes flooding. Obviously, we have a storm coming in tonight, and we want to make sure that our community is prepared in terms of flood mitigation.
Mm-hmm.
We want to ensure that, again, our kids have equitable access to all types of resources. We want to improve funding for mental health.
Yes.
That is a serious component that we need to look at. And I always say that right now the state of Texas funds the criminal justice system at 8 times more than they fund public education.
Absolutely.
Good.
That is correct.
We have to. Yes, there will always be criminals. Some people need to be. There's a lot of folks who need to be locked up, right? But there's
That's
also
also true.
right. There's also some prevention measures that we need to look at. We need to look at some
Totally.
substance abuse prevention measures, and all these things need to be funded. We need to look at teachers' retirement. We need to look at Medicaid, Medicare here in the state. We are with increasing prices. There are more individuals that are not even just living paycheck to paycheck. It's just difficult. It's hard to afford to live, even in middle class families. And one thing I like to point out too, what people don't really realize, for this campaign, my wife and I, we have spent a significant amount of our own resources. I think probably this report will probably be over $40,000 of our own money. So, I think
But that's your passion, though. That's the
it is definitely, so when I tell people that, I'm telling it, I don't do it really for grandstanding. I do it really to be impactful. Because I could be a whole lot wealthier, and my wife can buy a whole lot of nice stuff.
Yes, she and I can go shopping and enjoy ourselves, but we're standing with you on this campaign.
Right. And so those type of things
Yes.
really matter to me, and that's again just helping everybody, having a more inclusive government, someone at the table who understands that there's different issues in the rural community. There's different issues in urban communities. Galveston County, unique to the District 23 at the state level, is we have, my territory covers most of southern Galveston County, and then it covers Chambers County. And you're talking about southern Galveston County is effectively a very urban community, and not in terms of just demographics, but also in terms of land. We don't necessarily, we don't live in a rural environment, whereas Chambers County is very rural. So their needs are a little bit different, but there's also very similar challenges. Chambers County, Galveston County, we all just need access to broadband. If people
Absolutely
look at their phones now, that matters. How can we have everybody in the home with internet, right? And with the internet that works, right?
It works effectively.
Issues. Also, too, when I speak to constituents in Chambers County, we look at, well, do they have food deserts? Do they have access to food? Do they have access to a lot of community development in terms of what can we do for their youth, for these youth development programs? That's what we're saying here in Galveston County, is saying, oh, well, we need to give our youth more to do. And we do. And that is what I do that I will do at the state level.
Yes,
and
you will do.
work with other community partners, other elected officials at the county and city level to ensure that these kids have this access. That's what a state legislator does, and there's so much that is coming forward in the next state. The next biennium, which is which will begin in January, it is going to be a tense battle in the state legislature, and we're going to need individuals who are not afraid to do what needs to be done to ensure equitable outcomes, equitable policies that don't disenfranchise
Yes,
the
come
most
on,
vulnerable.
say that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You've spoken so well. Where if I had no idea that you were running and I knew nothing about what you stated was enough for me. There was enough of a nugget, enough nuggets for me to go and make an educated decision and make a vote that counts. And that is to vote for someone like yourself, your history. You have a personal connection to those that have experienced poverty, those who have struggled in other areas, those that have a single mother in the home and what those children experience, you can personally relate to them. So you're personable, you're approachable. People can relate to you and you can relate to them. And that helps you with your effective writing skills, write the best policies that we need for our areas. And I love that you explain about Chambers County as well as Galveston County. So I'm still watching and I'm believing, and I'm just hoping that others will do the same.
Right. If you don't mind if I get a few more words,
Go right ahead. You got this.
I don't want people to vote for me simply because I'm a Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want them to vote for me simply because I'm a Black man. I want individuals to vote for me because they know I will be fair. Mm-hmm. They know I will be balanced, and I am going to do the right thing for my constituency. It's, we're all Americans. We're all Texans. Everybody in Galveston Ball.
She's okay.
Everybody in Galveston Ball. I really do want people to vote for me because of that. And if anybody would even ask one of my Republican colleagues, they will say, if I call Keith, Keith will have a very amicable conversation, and he will, he will let you know where he stands, and he'll find a compromise. Mm-hmm. Anybody who's ever really talked to me and dealt with me, they will tell you that, he's going to get work done. He's going to be honest with you. he's not going to sugarcoat where he stands, but at the end of the day, he's going to get it. He's going to get the work done. And that's why I want people to. And
that's what we need. Thank you. That's what we need. I mean, really, you notice I never said any of the things that you do not want people to vote for you for, because when I look at things, I want to look from an objective perspective. I want to make an educated decision. I want to look at, is this candidate the right person, the right fit for us? And you fit the bill. So thank you. Thank you so much, Dionne, for coming on with us and sharing and giving us a lot of insight. And I just wish the best for both of you, because it is that you guys are in unity. I love the family core values, and I'm glad y'all shared all of that today on Simply Free Little Talk. Thank you. Y'all making a difference. Thank you. And so I look forward to the fundraiser, even though I'll be representing 86.
Well, as long as 1986 shows up with their coins. Spoken like a true politician.
Exactly. It's okay. They already marked you from day one that you were a politician. So good. And you are representing well. Let me say that. Thank you again, Ms. Dionne. We're going to sign off together. So if there's anything important to say goodbye, please feel free.
Yeah, thank you for having us. It was really a pleasure. We really had a lot of fun.
I'm glad you did. Dionne, you did wonderful. Right. Is there anything, Dionne, you want to say?
I'm very proud of my husband, and we're asking everyone to vote in November for him for the state rep position for District 23. So,
You heard it. What you heard it from the wife, and if she says it, I believe it as well. So follow suit.
All
Thank you
right.
both again. On a serious note, I do believe the campaign is well worth what you're standing for. Everything that you've spoken, we need to vote for you. So, Galveston County and other areas that's eligible to vote for the Commissioner Keith Henry. I'm telling you, for State's Representative House District 23, look out. He's the one. He's the man.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Blessed. Okay. I had so much fun. I had a great time with them. I tell you, the Henrys, or what I wanted you to know, that they are personable, they're down to earth, and that they have a voice. And Mr. Keith Henry has experience. This is not a candidate who just decided one day, let me just run for this particular office. This is someone who's worked for it and who's learned the governmental system. And so he can be a great voice for us. He's an excellent writer. And with that type of experience, with that firsthand knowledge, that's the individuals that we as the people need to voice our opinion by going out and vote. Don't talk about it if you can't be about it, and make your vote count. So I'm signing off from Simply Free Little Talk. This is your host, Free Little. Like, share, and subscribe. Thank you again for tuning in. Bye-bye.